Hello, and welcome to this tutorial for AutoVerb. AutoVerb is an editor extension for Unity that allows you to automatically configure reverb zones based on the layout of your scene. Let's start off this tutorial with a simple scene with two rooms connected by a short corridor. To get a better idea of the layout, let's switch to a top view. In addition to the mesh, the scene contains a first-person controller so we can walk around, and a couple of point lights so we can see things. We've also added a sound source. If you look in the inspector, you'll see that we've used a custom roll-off. That keeps the volume at a constant level no matter how far away you go from the source. We've done that just for the sake of clarity in this tutorial. You are free to use any sort of roll-off when using AutoVerb in your games. Let's switch to play mode to try out this setup.
The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point. The digits 0.
So that's what the sound source sounds like without any reverb applied. Now, let's add a reverb zone. We click Game Object, followed by Create Other, followed by Audio Reverb Zone. Let's rename the reverb zone to Main Room Reverb. In the inspector view, let's set the position of the reverb zone to 0, 0, 0. Let's set the minimum distance to 12 and the maximum distance to 18. As you can see in the 3D view, the minimum and maximum distances are indicated by these two concentric spheres. The first reverb zone doesn't cover the small room, so let's add another reverb zone. We'll move it to the small room and reduce the distance values. Now, let's click play and listen to what the default reverb parameters sound like.
The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point. The digits 0, 1.
As you can tell, there's no difference between the large and the small rooms, even though they look like they should sound different. Let's look at the controls Unity offers to tweak reverb zones. If we click a reverb zone in the hierarchy view, we can see reverb settings in the inspector view. One option is to pick a preset. That might work, but doesn't offer enough control for changing things if you don't like what you hear. Another option is to pick the user preset. That gives you a lot of control to tweak. It may take a little bit of figuring out to set the values of these controls to match the scene. There may not be a clear way of figuring out what value to set any of these controls to, given what the scene looks like. For example, if you decided to raise the ceiling in the main room, how should that affect reverb parameters? That's where AutoVerb comes in. It automatically configures these sliders based on the layout of the scene. To use AutoVerb, you have to import the AutoVerb package first. We've already imported it here, but for more instructions on this, check out the manual. After importing AutoVerb, you should see the AutoVerb folder in the project view. To use AutoVerb, click Window in the main menu, then click AutoVerb. This opens the main AutoVerb panel. Let's just dock it to the right side of the Unity window first. The main thing to note is this big shiny bake button. Clicking it causes AutoVerb to analyze the scene and bake in your reverb zone parameters. Before we can do that, though, there is a couple of settings we might want to check. First up is quality settings. This lets you specify how detailed the bake process should be. Let's go ahead and set this to medium. Next is default acoustic material. AutoVerb models how sound waves interact with solid objects. The default acoustic material lets you specify what material the scene is made of. Let's set this to concrete. For now, let's ignore the locked reverb zones list. We'll come back to this in a bit. Now, let's go ahead and click Bake. It turns out that the AutoVerb baking process is a lot like baking light maps. You need to explicitly mark your objects as static in order for AutoVerb to interact with them. Let's go ahead and do that. We'll mark the room object as static as well as its children. Now, let's click Bake again. AutoVerb starts to do its thing and indicates its progress just below the Bake button. Now that that's done, let's take a quick look at the inspector for one of the reverb zones. You'll see that AutoVerb has automatically configured these sliders for you. Let's enter play mode and see what things sound like.
The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point. The digits 0, 1, 2, 3.
As you can see, AutoVerb has made the small room sound small and the large room sound large automatically. Now let's say the small room was actually carpeted. We could tell AutoVerb to use the carpet material, but that would affect the main room too. Instead, we can override the acoustic material just for the small room. Let's click the small room's reverb zone. In the inspector view, let's add a component. Under scripts, you'll find the acoustic material. Now, you can pick an acoustic material specifically for this zone. Let's go ahead and choose carpet. Now, let's go back to the AutoVerb panel and click Bake again. Let's listen to the scene now.
The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a decimal point. The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4.
If you noticed, clicking the Bake button caused both reverb zones to be baked again. We only needed to rebake the small room reverb zone though, and we can tell AutoVerb to do just that. In the AutoVerb panel, you'll see a list of all your reverb zones under locked reverb zones. Placing a check mark next to any reverb zone causes it to be locked. When you click Bake, AutoVerb does not touch any locked reverb zone. Let's go ahead and lock the main room reverb, then click Bake again. As you can see, AutoVerb is only rebaking one of the reverb zones, the small room reverb. This feature lets you focus the bake process on only the reverb zones where you've changed parameters. As you adjust your reverb zones, you can lock the ones you're satisfied with and bake only the unlocked ones. That's it for this tutorial for AutoVerb. For more information, please check out the manual, which is also included in the AutoVerb package for Unity, or contact Impulsonic at support@impulsonic.com. Thanks for watching.